What's up, beautiful people? Coach Tish here. Um, and so I am on a mission since I have achieved my own level and sense of freedom to really begin sharing what it is that I know, and what I've learned and the lessons that I've gathered along the way. And one of the tools that has gathered me and really gifted me the greatest sense of freedom is really this tool, this resource that I call Coach Your Damn Self. It sounds kind of funny at first, but if you are a woman like me, first generation independent, intelligent, first generation entrepreneur, first generation author, first generation speaker, right? Then a lot of what we have done and what we created on our own. A lot of the things that we have done, if you're a woman like me, right, who's probably from an urban neighborhood, New Jersey, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Compton, LA, right? If you're from an urban community and you made it out and you were successful, then 9 times out of 10, right, we have learned really how to do things on our own. And a lot of things. We've learned how to do a lot of things on our own, either by reading books, having mentors, things like that. And so I want to really bring a different type of perspective to the conversation, right? And so the conversation I want to talk about, of course, is the freedom fundamentals, right? And this is really all around creating our own sense of freedom. But it's also about, let me put my light on so you can see me clearly. But it's also about making sure that we are creating a state of bliss in our lives, right? And that's not something really in our community that we hear that much about, right? And when you look it up, bliss is really this idea around perfect or supreme happiness, right? This idea that everything is just amazing, everything going on in life, nothing can touch me, no matter what's going on in my life, with my family, at my job, like no matter what, I'm good. Right. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit because last week we touched on Maslow's hierarchy, right? And so I drew it out again for you this week. So hopefully you can see that, right? And so we talked about Maslow's hierarchy, and we talk about this a lot, right? Because Maslow is this, hey Virginia, Maslow is the psychologist who basically said that these are the basic human needs here, right? So we're talking about, at the very foundation, we're talking about getting our basic human needs met. So this is like food, shelter, water, clean air, right? So when you think about it as a human, the very first thing that we really are looking for, and I pushed it, got a phone call, y'all still there? I probably should have something that covers the other part up just a little bit. This is why you always keep paper, ladies. You always keep a little journal and paper here. So we're talking about Maslow, right? And at the very basic sense, right, the very bottom sense, our foundational needs, in life, we're looking for our basic needs to be met, right? This is air, food, shelter, water. This is the primary reason that most of us get jobs. We went to college, we got training, we got certifications, right? So that we could get our basic needs met, so that we could afford to pay for our food, so we could afford to pay for our housing, so we could make sure we had clean water and, we had great air quality. Well, after that, the next thing that we're looking for, and this is just basic human stuff, right? As a human, the next thing that we're looking for is really security, right? So we are not just satisfied with a job that is going to leave, right? We want a secure job. We want a good job, right? And there's no shame in that. Oftentimes, we talk about, I was told to get a good job. Well, that's because we wanted to make sure that our basic needs were met, right? This is basic stuff, at the very foundational things. If we don't feel like, we don't have housing, we don't have air, we don't have food, we don't have water, we are afraid of how we're going to pay for life, right? At the very basic, if we're afraid how we're going to have the good health care, right? There's always, if we don't have those things in place, then we're always going to be feeling like something is slightly off, right? And this is why many of us are afraid to get into entrepreneurship, really, is because we're not sure. We want to make sure with our good job, right? We got to for sure a certainty that our basic needs are being met. So, there's money coming in, we've got good health, we can pay for food, shelter, water. Now, After we achieve security, the very next thing that we're looking for is a sense of community, right? Most of us, we're either looking for a good family, right? Either a family by choice or, family by force, or we're looking for great friends, right? We're also looking for intimacy, right? Some people, some place where we can be our vulnerable selves without being talked about, joked about, joned on. Do people still say you get joned on? At the very basic sense, that's also, if you think about it, some of these reasons are, some of this is reasons why some of the people from our community join gangs. When you really think about it, right? They're looking for having their basic needs met. They want a sense of security and they want to be involved in community, right? This is something that all humans, no matter what the income level is, we're looking for. And most of us have achieved these three levels in some sense. Even if it's not healthy, even if it's not the best for us, we still have a sense of that. And so that makes us feel secure. Well, right after we get that and this is what Maslow says, right? Then we're moving up toward leadership. Right? This is leadership. This is where we're looking for to be respected by others. We want to have a sense of respect. We want others to respect us. We want to basically hold position. We want people, when they hear our name, to respect us. Right? And that's a really big deal. That's, that's where a lot of us get our self-confidence from, based on how people see us. So we want to be seen a certain way. And most of us are in that place. We've done things to get here. Now, not to say that necessarily we're all happy about it, right? That we are, that there's not anything that we want to change, right? It's not necessarily perfect, but at least we've achieved that. And so this is basically where most of us are, right? We're now at a place where it's like, okay, I've got, my basic needs met. I got food, air, water. I've got a roof over my head. I'm respected in the community. I have a leadership position of some sort, either in my church or in my sorority, or at my job. I have some type of leadership position. And now we are looking around at ourselves and we're like, okay, but what's next? There's got to be more. There's got to be more to this. And so I want to suggest that what we're looking for, that now that we've got our basic stuff met and we're a little bit better than everybody else in our families, I want to suggest that the thing that we're looking for is this idea of bliss, right? Bliss being, like I said, supreme happiness. And, really, like, how exactly do we get it, right? And I suggest that, because we are, because we are very clear about what it is that we're looking for and kind of what we've gotten and what we feel might be missing, I suggest that a small piece, because we're independent, we're first generation, we have a habit of doing things ourselves. I'm going to suggest that that bliss that we're looking for is going to come from by way of coaching, right? Coaching, when you look it up, the definition by the International Coaching Federation, coaching is really the ability to partner with someone, as they achieve their highest potential, right? Bliss is your highest potential. That's when you're able to be, bliss is really this idea. And this is what Maslow says, right? At the top of this pyramid, the hierarchy, what he talks about is really this ability to be spontaneous, this ability to be creative. This means to put kind of all of your stuff, everything that you've learned into play, and you're creating the life of your dreams. Now, I got to tell you, for most of us, we hear this and the first thing we think is, well, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? Like, how exactly do I do that? Right. And one of the things that I hear first is, well, I don't have enough time. You know what I mean? There's not enough hours in the day. My plate is already packed. Right. And I totally, completely, 100% agree with that. I mean, as a matter of fact, when I was first looking at this idea of how do I reach my highest potential, one of the first things I was thinking about was, wow, this thing is going to take, forever for this thing to happen. Like, I don't have 12 hours a day to sit around meditating, right? When you think about bliss and people who are talking about it, usually it's folk who are spending, 2 hours meditating, 3 hours reading, like they don't live the life that I was living. And so, I honestly felt like shit, like this, I was kind of like a sense of resignation, like a sense of almost like, say, hopelessness, like, this is all there is, right? But I knew that there had to be more, but I was the feeling that this was it was kind of higher than my belief that I could actually find something a little bit better. And I kind of live with that feeling, but still searching, still seeking, still reading books, still doing Google searches, still trying to meet people, right? Like really on a path to find something different. And I got to tell you, it wasn't until I crossed up the path of a book called Celestine Prophecy. There's actually several books, right, that I've on this path as I was seeking, my highest level, my highest potential, that it was really the Celestine Prophecy that kind of changed a huge part of my life, that really began to put this whole thing into perspective. And, the Celestine Prophecy talks about the 8 insights that we gather as we are increasing or growing in our sense of awakening. Right. And so as I'm reading this book, and the way they position it, it's a spiritual book, right? But the way they position this spiritual book is such that it's how do you say, it's an action story, right? So I like action. So you got, car chases and folk getting murdered and all kinds of stuff. And I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, but there's like these spiritual insights that's, kind of laid out. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh shit, like I can apply this to my real life. This idea that, okay, I'm going to begin seeing coincidences, like small things are going to start lining up. And so as I started working through the book and really just, identifying the process, I was like, oh shit, like this thing there might actually be hope for me. There might actually be another level, right? There might actually be a way that I can kind of make this thing happen. Well, because of the time constraints that I had, I was only able to read a little bit at a time, right? But because I was able to read a little bit at a time, what I found is, and the story was compelling, let me say that, because the story was compelling and I only had a little bit of time, what that allowed me to do, what that really pulled me to do, is just read a little bit at a time, just a little bit, right? Like a couple of pages here, a couple of pages there. But the more I read, the more belief that I grew in myself and my ability to create the life of my dreams, right? And, I hear people say life of their dreams, and I'm just like, okay, what does that mean, right? And I think about, really a sense of freedom, like the sense, this ability or this, the freedom to create whatever it is that I want. This ability, and I didn't even realize I had it until somebody mentioned Dr. Vita's Opal Reese. And I looked up her stuff and I was like, okay, well, I'm looking at, the location she's going to be at. And I just booked a flight. Like I found a flight, it was $100 and I booked it. And it didn't dawn on me until I was here and I was in my hotel room, that I was like, wow, like this is what life's about. I was in my hotel room. I had the Sade playing, and this was just this weekend. I had the Sade playing, I had my bath salts that I carry with me. I got some salt that I have that I mix with essential oils and flowers. And I was taking a bath and the Sade is playing and I'm in the room by myself, and I was like, wow, like this is what freedom is. Like this is what bliss feels like. The ability to, I see something that I want. Money is not an object. I go get it with the expectation that what I'm going to get is going to not only help me, but help my family, help my community, help the people that I know, right? And it's going to help me to live at a higher level and perform, and really be my absolute best self. And it was in that moment that I was like, damn, like this is what I've always wanted. The ability to dictate my own schedule, the ability to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, invite friends to come along, buy a ticket for a girlfriend if I so choose, have dinner at the best restaurants, just enjoy my time, right? And just chill out. It's my aunt's birthday weekend. So I'm here. I can, take the Uber or, take the Uber to my aunt's place, have dinner with her, like this is what it's about. I was at the hotel and my computer broke down. I thought it was the housekeeping. I raised all kinds of sand. And then it was like, oh, there's an Apple store. So I took an Uber to the Apple store, got my computer worked on, came back, had it like this is what this thing is all about. And looking back, I'm like, damn, what if I had not what if I had not started along this path? What if I had not read that book? What if I had not just read a little bit every day? What if I had not started journaling? What if I had not looked out for the people or looked for people who were already on this path, right? Like, what would my life be like? And I had to think about that. Like, damn, I would be stuck in a place that I don't want to be in. You know, I would be stuck feeling as if I have no control. I would be stuck feeling as if everyone else dictates what's going on in my life and what I can create in my life and what's possible for my life. But because I did those little steps, because I read, a couple of pages every night, because I kept moving forward even when I wasn't sure, now I have that sense of bliss. Now I have that sense of creativity. Now I can be spontaneous. When something comes up that I'm looking for, when something comes up that I'm interested in, even remotely interested in, now I have the ability to hop on a plane and go see a speaker, hop on a plane and go meet the author of the book that I just bought on Monday. The book that I ordered on Saturday, started reading on Monday, by Saturday, I can be meeting that author. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what this thing is all about. It's not, one of my mentors used to say, life is not for whining, worrying, and working. Life is for living, laughing, and loving. And that state of, when you're able to be at a place where you're living and you're with people who you love and you're able to, crack a good joke and share jokes and enjoy life, like, that's really what it's about. At the same time, that's not what they teach us in college. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not teaching us that kind of stuff when, I know they didn't teach that in my undergrad program, in my graduate program. Everything they taught us was really about going to work for someone else, using our skills and our gifts, right? What comes naturally to us and hard to others, using those things and going to take those things out of our communities, to leave my community, where my family is, where I was raised, and go someplace better, where I can use, get a higher income from my skills. And there's nothing wrong with that at first until you start feeling like, shit, there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be, there's something missing. I don't want to keep missing Granny's birthday. I want to make the family gatherings. I want to come to the Labor Day cookout, And so I want to invite you to a free workshop, 3-part workshop that I'm hosting, called Coach Your Damn Self, right? And we're really calling it the Coach's Revolution, because it's this idea that we can give this to ourselves. And it's just simply a matter of identifying the right books, the ones that are going to save you time, the ones that's going to save you money, the ones that are going to get you on this pathway to bliss and to ultimate freedom and creativity and spontaneity and really living the life that you want to live at a quicker pace, so you don't have to wait 10 years, right? We can shortcut that experience for you. So go to if you haven't already, go to Coach Your Damn Self. That's www.coachyadamnself.com. And so I can begin sharing some of the exact steps and the exact blueprint that I've taken, that I've myself have taken, that I've given to other women. And it's completely free. It's a 3-part workshop. It's 100% free. And I want to begin mapping out exactly what it is that you need to do in order to create your own state of bliss for yourself, right? I think about Harriet Tubman when she says, I freed over 1,000 slaves, and I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves, right? And I think about that when we're talking about bliss and this idea that it is possible for us to have extreme, supreme happiness, right? It is possible. And I think of myself as almost like one of Mama Harriet's daughters, coming back to share what I've learned and what I've gathered with other women who look like me, who are from where I'm from, who have dreams and goals and aspirations of inspiring the world and speaking to other women and other young girls, right? So if you're not already signed up, go ahead and sign up. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you, like I said, everything that I know. And make sure you go out and get you some bliss today, if at all possible. Let the sun shine on your face, get you some fresh air, and just let's start taking steps forward. Even just start thinking, imagining what life could be like if we had that level, a state of bliss for ourselves. So I'm Coach Tish. I'll see you inside the free workshop, and I can't wait to hear more and learn more about you and where you're from and what you got going on. So I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.